Hello, everybody. My name's Eli Rin. I use all pronouns. I'm coming to you from Potawatomi, Odawa, and Ojibwe land, also known as Chicago colonially. And I'm coming into this session today with a lot of gratitude and like slow vitality, if that's not an oxymoron. Like an aliveness that does not, that feels like you know how in really fancy houses, how the kitchen floor is heated from underneath? And so you don't have to like deal with I've seen this one time in my life and it's never forgotten. But you can heat floors from the underneath, or you can heat a driveway in like an inclement place to melt the snow, right? That's the kind of like ancestral heat I'm coming to you with. I just feel warmed by the earth without being singed at the skin, which I'm very grateful for because I felt like the past few months, I'm sure well, I'm not sure, but maybe you've noticed. I've definitely not been here, and I have been trying to tend my singed skin from the world, and I feel tended to in a way that feels really beautiful, and that medicine Buddha practice has really helped me with. So whether you're coming back or it's your first time, today, we're just going to gently move through Medicine Buddha practice. Everything will be in the chat if we're chanting or anything like that. Eric will helpfully facilitate that for us as the tech host, and I'll give verbal cues for everybody. Everything's pretty repetitive, so you can kind of just catch on. If you're like, hey, my eyes are off, I said reading time is over, you can also just be listening time. The the like real vibe to me of any Lama Rod sit, but especially Medicine Buddha, is to really figure out how to even just aspire to understand your needs right now. How are you feeling right now? What can you ask for help for specifically? What do you need protection around? What do you need care around? And so I'll be I'll talk for a little bit and then we'll move into practice. But I don't know if you've ever been in the same vicinity of me, you'll know that I love show and tell. I never grew out of it, never will grow out of it. Anybody I live with, I'm just running down and being like, look what I got all the time, or look what I made mostly, um, or found. But today I wanted to show this little quilt that I've started crocheting. And if you notice, it's kind of like all flesh tones. It's like browns and pinks and purples. Um, and they're just little granny squares crocheted together, and it's a growing quilt. But me and my friend Isa are making a womb blanket. And so this will be expanding throughout the year. We lead a retreat together, and we're going to keep making this bigger and bigger and adding to it. But everything flesh toned, all different patterns. It'll be really patchwork. But we did this like beautiful meditation at our last retreat, and I was thinking of um like the shawl of an elder, either the robes of a monk. For me personally, I was thinking of like Ma Harriet's shawl that she's depicted in, the black one or the white one. And thinking of what it's like to be covered. That's a like really loaded word sometimes in religion or academia, like what it is to be like shrouded, right? That can almost be like a religious word that people use for like some sort of level of ordination or a level of lay respect for your God or your practice. And I was thinking of what does it mean to be like communally shrouded, ancestrally covered? How do I know that, like in my coldest moments, in my deepest grief, with my most singed feeling skin, the right shroud is there with the right ancestor, right? Whether it be gauze for my spirit, whether it be like something really warm, whether it be like those cooling space blankets if I'm hot but still need to be held, right? Truly anything. And so we're building this to be as big as like a 2 rooms so that we can do a huge meditation and wrap everybody up in it and kind of like the womb is not a place that you have to leave forever, and nor is it one place in someone's belly. right? A womb is birth. It is the potential and the moment of emergence. It's the holder for that moment, right? It's everything that leads up to creation. And there's all these paradoxes when we think about wombs. I think about my own womb and I'm like, I'm never gonna have a baby physically, but I still feel very connected to like having a uterus in a space where there are like there are eggs that aren't working, like well, there are eggs that won't turn into babies, but there are still eggs in there, and there's still like organisms and DNA and like thousands of years of my ancestors are living in me in so many different ways. And so just thinking of wombing, especially as a trans person, where that can be kind of a loaded thing to think of, or if you're of a certain age, if you were born a certain way, truly anybody can have an association with an organ that is heavy, right? But thinking specifically of how do I hold myself before I'm born? How can this moment be a place, be a womb in which I emerge into the next moment, right? What would I do? Who would I bring into that like birthing circle? Say I'm having like a water birth in my apartment. Who are my people waiting for this birth to happen, helping facilitating it, midwifing me? And so as we like move into that communal, personal boundlessness, I'm really hmm, moved these days. Like I'm like tearing up a little bit even right now. Like I'm moved to think of how we can die into being born in every moment. We don't have to accept just one thing, just one version of our lives, of the future, of our potential. And in communal liberation effort, in healing effort, in like, for me, the lessons of the medicine Buddha and the vows, may I not be enlightened until every single being is free, until everyone with pain has ceased being in pain, until every single person like committing harm against another acts like a bodhisattva. And so, I think I was talking about this yesterday in Ma Harriet, but I really come to think of Buddha fields a lot and how they're made, pure lands or, realms that Buddhas live in, right? And so the medicine Buddha, you can go look up the description of the realm that they have created and that they reside in and all the different types of ways you can visualize that. And for me, the like concrete Buddha field is best represented by the plantation. It is a place where, for me especially, as a Black person born in these states in Turtle Island, it is a place where out of not the pain and the terror is not necessary, but it is there. It is a place where pain and terror had existed, and even through that, it like Ma Harriet, people who free other people, even children who show that their parents that they deserve to be free. All of these little ripple effects birth a Buddha field. It is a place that is gory and chaotic and unorganized and painful. And through each connection, each like communal act of liberation, that's the purification. The blood in the soil that turns into tilling the land, that is the reaping. The people who, despite their circumstance or whatever the world thinks of their personhood or agency, know how to speak to the ground, know how to listen to the trees, how to feel the wind, how to read the environment around them in order to keep who they are alive, to bring their people wherever they are, to sow rice into their braids before they go on ships from Congo to the US, so that they have literally the seeds of their people, the seeds, their ground, right? You can show up with nothing and your land is still in your bones. And so, medicine Buddha for me is the act of calling not just this deity, the medicine Buddha, who I really appreciate and we will call in because I appreciate the help, but also every being that has said, I won't get this until we all get it. Everyone with that sort of conviction, any sort of like beloved or teacher or loved one or, author, whoever, any sort of river that you connect to that you just can see, you can feel that like energy. I think of like going to my homes of like the people who helped raise me who are Japanese Hawaiian, going to Hawaii and feeling like the mana of the land and just knowing like, oh, like there are people who never forgot. And it's not literally memory. It's lovely to remember our traditions and to remember and discover our people, but more than that, it is a state of being. Remembrance is something we move into. And so, with asking for medicine, we have to remember what our true medicine is, right? What do I really need? Sometimes when I'm in like, I went to this beautiful, I'll talk for just maybe 5 more minutes and then I promise we'll get into practice. But like,
That's
like
right.
what
You do whatever you want.
I'm a rambler, but I have so much that you guys bring out in my spirit. But this feels part of the practice too to me. I went to this beautiful ceremony called Melancholia, a Black Rage ritual. And it was put on and it was a big banquet, big like smashing fruit rage room. And it was a lot of folks, black folks specifically, deal with fibroids, right? Uterine or otherwise fibroids. They can be associated really with like repressed rage and unreleased anger. Autoimmune diseases can also be associated with that, but they're like really undertreated and misdiagnosed in black folks or not believed, especially. They can have really huge impacts in your life, and often they're described by fruit, how big they are. So they'll say, you have a fibroid as big as a cantaloupe, a lime, or whatever in you. And there's not a lot of care there, especially for Black folks in the medical industrial complex. And so it was this Black ceremony where we listened to about 20 minutes of testimonies from people over audio in this big dark room, all sitting together. And they had like made us tea. They had laid out big tables of fruit. There were tangerines, not tangerines, tambourines everywhere. And my friend Love Marie was like DJing the background. So we listened to the testimony. There was a guided meditation. And then we just moved into rage and expression and everything. And I played that Pale Pale Moon song from Sinners because that was really what the energy felt like. It was like mostly black femmes and just like I don't know, like half of the people were already like my close friends because it's a small, it's a city, so all the black queers, kind of loosely know each other. And so of a certain at least vibe. And so we were just like, it felt like that. If you've seen that movie, it felt like that scene. We were moving, we were shaking, we were praying, like the music was going, and we're playing our own like off and on beat, like rhythm all together. And it was so beautiful. People were just undone. Like I took this, they had a bunch of full watermelons too, and I took one and like there was this slow song which reminded me of the first song I played. It's just called Honeycomb, but it's just like slow and spacious. And I did a full massage with this water melon as if it was like a tennis ball, or a lacrosse ball. And then the beat picked up and they were like repeating a little bit of mantras, like what needs to be spat out, what needs to be consumed, what do you need to heal, and what do you need to reject, right? Moving into that agency. And so I finished like my massage and then I'm dancing and singing with people and just like smash it and just like eat the insides. And then there's a big compost bucket and throw the rind in there. And then I just laid down and somebody laid down next to me. And we didn't touch, but we just like um made a joint. We both had a tambourine in our hands and we made a joint beat, just like going with our tambourines. And so that to me is the essence of medicine. It's how do we know that we can tap into ourselves, but the fullness of our expression will never be realized in isolation because it is communal. We are each other, like not just in a woo-woo way, but in a literal way. We are interconnected. And so we really can sink into the depths of our joy, our connection, our sublimeness, our beauty, our sensuality, our rage, our grief in those containers, in those intentional spaces where you build trust, you're being honest, and you're willing to not look away. So for me, the medicine Buddha is someone who was willing to not look away, was a physician of, you know, healing in a way that meant I know that if you're hurt, I'm hurt too. And I don't want to fix you just to fix me, but I want to fix or discover or heal or move through or expand into seeing or being aware of what's around this specific pain because I know it's shared. How do I get to that? How do I relate to the pain of the world, really? Because it really points us to what we need to get free, to what we deserve. Like rage points you to knowing there's been an injustice. Something is not right, right? Grief points us to a deep love, a capacity to love so deeply that even if that thing's not there, you are sick with love about it, right? That's the reality. Every single mistake is a blessing. Every single curse is a blessing, right? We don't have to even be like toxically positive. We can be neutral in the sense that, yes, give me it all. And tantric in the sense that I will eat it and I will let it change me. I have to let it change me. I saw this, my friend Oak Kawaklan is a astrologer and an herbalist and a cook, a tourist chef, so just like ridiculously wonderful at cooking. And said the other day, um, I am afraid I'm bastardizing this, but it was like I am afraid to let the movement move me because if I did, I would be completely different. That is like an encapsulation of how we feel fearful when we're hesitant to change. I know I've heard that a lot from people who say, "Oh no, I couldn't meditate. I'd want to change my whole life." I'm just like, that's pointing to something. We have to look towards that. Even in our relationships, when we're like, "Oh, I don't want to approach this conflict," that might birth separation or something, right? It might. It might birth something else too. But not facing it is turning away from ourselves, is sabotaging ourselves, is ignoring our pain. And we all have seen around us, right? We can see what happens when you don't process grief collectively, when we don't deal with our shit, like Lama Rod says. It becomes shit that other people have to deal with. And so today, I call in with you all this energy of the medicine Buddha, that bodhisattva conviction of I don't have to know how I'm gonna do this. I don't know have to know when it's gonna get done. I don't even have to believe it's like truly gonna get finished. But I will try all the way to make sure I am rooted in collective liberation, in every single one of us getting free and the last thing I'll say for real this time is that they had us write our ticket to get in. They gave us a piece of paper that they made themselves out of these beautiful herbs that we drank later. It was so lovely. But it said, write something true about you. And I had a really hard day. I had a lot of really hard days, and I was trying to find something beautiful. And so I was there to release and be together. And the like one thing I was trying to think of something and I couldn't. I was like going blank. I was like, I don't, there's too many and also not enough things. What's true about me? And then crystal clear, the one thing I thought was that I'm seeking liberation and the fact that I know it will not look like how I expect, but far sweeter still keeps me alive. And I really think that is the medicine Buddha spirit. That is the Bodhisattva spirit. That is the spirit of Lama Rod, of practice, is I'm willing to try for something I don't know, that I know I don't have yet. I can accept both the impossibility and the shattering of that impossibility all in one, right? It's going to be more than we can ever dream of. And we get there by dreaming bigger and bigger every day. So take up that duty, that gift of imagination, of visualizing, of letting yourself know you got this. It's not just you, it's all of us, and we'll call in help. So, with that said, we'll open up with our opening mantra or invocation mantra for the Medicine Buddha of Om Menla Sangye Kino, which will also be in the chat. Feel free to remember about the prayer offerings after we do this and do the main mantra. We'll move into our prayer offerings and then a little mantra and a little closing. I'll probably sing a song because I love to sing a song to y'all. And yeah, today I'll open up with just a couple bells. Take this time to really start listening. Notice who's around you before you even invite them in. Notice who's with you. What's with you? What lands are holding you? What like fibers are keeping you soft and cozy? What bed supports you? What seat lifts up to you? I'll do a little bit of sound bells for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then we'll move into some mantras. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, no bells. The live performance won't let me turn back on for some reason, but I'll try that later. But we'll move into our mantra. Take a few breaths in and out. Just take a second to clear your space around you, whether that's mentally, physically, put down anything that's ready to be put down. And we'll start with one long Om and then do the mantra 3 times and end with another Om. We can all breathe in together. Om. Om Mela Sangye Kino Soha. Om Mela Sangye Kino Soha. Om Mela Sangye Kino Soha. Om. Few breaths in and out. We invited our ancestors in. We invited Medicine Buddha in today. Thankfully, we got real options because I bought you visual aids that have no little sounds at all. But in our little pagoda, we have the Medicine Buddha chilling for us on our altar. He holds a bowl of like nectar, basically, and an herb called arura. It's like a healing nectar and a healing herb. And so today, before we go into our visualization, we are just going to, or no, we're going to go into a little visualization before our main mantra, just to like really, if it helps, birth that connection. I think a lot of this practice is like allowing myself to be connected to something not necessarily physical right in front of me, right? How do I reach back to my ancestors? If it's really loaded or complicated, one easy way to start or one potential in is deity practice, protector practice. Really feeling what it feels like to ask for care for somebody who can't really let you down. And then sometimes if you catch yourself feeling like they're letting you down, being like, I find that a fantastic exploration place mentally, when I'm like, somebody, a god is letting me down. I'm like, what does that even mean? I'm kind of making up the rules in my head anyways. And so usually it means that like I'm blocking myself from asking for the care that I need. And I'm frustrated and I'm getting resentful about something, not naming something to myself. So many ways to practice, but if you'd like to take a moment to let the eyes, the gaze relax, perhaps even you close your eyes all the way if it feels safe. You might take a second to check in with the body, relaxing the jaw, the shoulders. Perhaps imagining the elbows and wrists get heavy, the fingers untensed like they're floating in water. As we breathe in and out, even just for one moment, we might try to let the skin of our stomach completely relax on the exhale. On the inhale, finding some support in the torso. Just keeping on checking in, we notice the low back, the hips and glutes. If there's any clenching or tension that can be released, we start to release it. Or if there's any pain that just needs witnessing, we offer witnessing and holding. We, the medicine Buddha gently holds each painful spot, letting it know it doesn't need to change before it's ready. That we will be patient enough to listen to its lessons and to learn how to heal. And so you let your feet gently relax as well, maybe even wiggling your toes a little, bringing some playfulness into the body, some lightness, or letting them sink, get heavy, whatever feels right to you. We're just taking a look at the body, at the breath, at the thoughts and sensations arising and falling in this moment. And we prepare them like an offering. If you're familiar with Cha, you could think of it kind of like that. We take all of the stuff that we have right now, all of the grief, the joy, the noticing, the presence, the disconnection even. We imagine just laying it at the feet of the medicine Buddha, presenting it all. as a deity, a bodhisattva, an ancestor, they can accept this as just energy, just connection, a bid for connection, right? The same way, like when a baby is bored, maybe like a 1-year-old, kind of mobile, but can't really talk too much, is bored, and they'll like throw something at you, right? Like they'll just like slap your little leg with their hand or chuck something at you. And it's easy for that to be a clear bid for connection as an adult, right? You just look at them and you go, oh, do you want me to pay attention to you? Like you're not like, oh, I can't believe you did this act of aggression and malicious intent at me. And so the same like relationship we can have with deities. We can just let ourselves be bidding for attention and getting it. So we drop it all at their feet. And with this bowl, you can see the medicine Buddha if you'd like sitting in front of you. You can imagine just a river. You can imagine a soft blue light. But wherever you're imagining this energy of the medicine Buddha, this ancestral healing, a little bowl emerges. Use this one. It's softly glowing, and it's full of dark blue light, the color of the medicine Buddha, lapis lazuli. The medicine Buddha, pours all of this light into the bowl. He puts all of the arura, the herb that he holds at all times in some statues or paintings, mixes it in with the healing substance. And in exchange for the offering of all of who we are, for our witnessing of ourselves, you can just imagine a hand reaching out, your grandma, the medicine Buddha, your best friend, a tree branch. And it says, I know you're thirsty, and I know you're tired. You can drink. And up to you. You can drink, you cannot drink, but the healing is offered. And it's our choice to be brave enough, to be open enough, to know that we deserve it. Regardless of whatever is going on, the healing coming our way is deserved and for us. And we're creating it. Each and every condition for what's to come is being born right now and divinely tied to every moment before that, right? It's all together. One big, 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 big web. One like shiny Indra's net. And so we'll move into our main mantra for a few minutes, a few minutes before we do the prayer requests, and then end with mantra and a song together. So our main mantra will go into the chat. I'm going to drink a little water of Tayata Bekense, Maha Bekense, Ratsasamungate Soha. Like this, I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of pain and suffering, and I release the energy of this prayer to all the worlds so that we may all be liberated. If you'd like a visualization while we chant, I'd like you to imagine, I don't know, maybe your little cup of care keeps growing, gets bigger and bigger, as big as you can hold. Doesn't feel heavy, but it's like as big as your hands can hold, right? And it just keeps filling with blue, dark blue, whatever color you want, but light. And as you hold it, we chant this mantra, and really, the like physical sound waves are cast out. They mix in with our bowl of medicine Buddha, like pure healing light and herbs. And it starts to just overflow, almost like you're sitting under a waterfall, right? And this, obviously, you don't have to imagine this if you don't want to. It's a lot of things, but I know we're in a kind of pseudo-Tibetan space, and some people really like to get layered with their brains. So this is for you if you would like that. Just imagine the light pouring out, the herbs pouring out. It looks like little long fern leaves. And it just soaks into the land around you. It keeps going. You become like the center of an ocean. You're the birth of a Buddha field, right? This love, this care, it flows until it just keeps flowing out and out as we chant, offering it to each and every being in suffering, each and every being in joy, each and every being that we recognize as ourselves. This whole like galactic expression. We let the healing flow. We make our own oceans. And each prayer is like a grain of sand settling on the bed of this ocean, becoming our foundation, right? Not solid though. Solid enough to walk on, but still, you can slip your feet into it. You can mix it up into the water. You can make the prayers spread again. So if you'd like, there's a visualization. Take a couple breaths in and out. You can imagine your bowl filling. Do one Om to start, then we'll go in. Om Dhyata Om Beknze Beknze Maha Beknze Radza Samgate Soha Dhyata Om Beknze Beknze Maha Beknze Raza Samgate Soha Dhyata Beknze Beknze Ma 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 Beknze Raza Samgate Soha. Taking a breath in and out, we bask in this ocean of healing intent. And I will turn my attention to the prayer dock. Prayers for Grandma Miller and the Miller family as they experience grandmother's passage through the bardo. Prayers for Lisa and her mother as she has a procedure next week. Prayers for Robin, Paula, and me and our fellow travelers next week. Prayers for D and K as they navigate this challenging time in their relationship. May they keep their hearts open to each other and be guided to their highest path. May D find courage, emotional, and financial support for the next step. Prayers for myself. I pushed something too hard in my process earlier this year that broke my foundation. Prayers for my healing from the intergenerational trauma of colonialism, specifically CSA and its effects. I pray I'm able to return to myself and rebuild my rigor. Prayers for all those in the streets. May they be safe. May they be peaceful. May they be healthy, and in easefulness. Prayers that I found work to sustain my family. Gratitude for my communities anchored in integrity and love. Gratitude for all the dear teachers. They be cloaked in protection and love. Prayers that I grow my calm center and that I may remain squarely in the divine light. Prayers that TM, who died in mid last century, have all he needs. Prayers that FC, who died in 2020, has all she needs. That all my lineages and ancestors have all they need. Prayers of consolation and love for those suffering, dying, surviving while loved ones dying, alone and afraid. Prayers for the healing of my tender, broken, open heart. Prayers for awakened, loving, chosen family to turn toward me and stay close. Prayers for my bio family to get what they need. Prayers for H and for his continued liberation and support that he may know he is loved and is loved. Prayers for P and M for health and vitality and long lives. Prayers for immediate financial abundance and ease. Prayers for meaningful work centered around the Dharma. Prayers for all in need of direction and purpose. Prayers for my siblings who are aging situations. May all beings be well. Prayers for protesters in the streets in LA. May you be safe and protected and victorious in battles with all the cops. Prayers for Mark Smatek, who has transitioned into the bardo. Prayers for those living with neurodegenerative diseases. Prayers for a peaceful resolution in an upcoming mediation. Prayers for an upcoming trip to see my family of origin. May we experience ancestral healing, grace, flow, and ease. Prayers for an old woman being hospitalized for the first time in her life. Prayers for Court, who is mourning his dog, Willow. Prayers for JTP for mental and financial peace. Prayers for safety, for SRP, and for direction. Prayers to develop a kinder boundary so I can tend to myself and stay open. Prayers for my Uncle David, who suddenly passed, and for his beloved. Prayers for B, as he has been going through it and holding so much, may empower himself to take unapologetic rest. And remember, he is more than productivity. Prayers that Jupiter's movement into Cancer brings the deep wisdom, healing, care, and resources we need to be well and free. Prayers that all borders fall, all empires and systems of oppression are vanquished, and that each of us become medicine to our ecosystem. Prayers for courage and stillness, and may I be a source of refuge for all those around me, and may I also receive the abundant care of my ancestors, Tara, and all collaborating to be of benefit. Prayers for Gaza, may Palestine be free. Prayers for gratitude for the ability to visit loved ones. May I make loving offerings to the forest and ocean and deepen intimacy with the land. Prayers for protection and blessings over my travels this week. Prayers of gratitude for my successful septum surgery and being able to breathe for the first time. Offering prayers and protection to all our indigenous, BIPOC, migrant, refugee, asylum seeker, and working class allies in Los Angeles working to expel ICE and fighting against police violence, offering prayers and protection to the activists on board the Madeleine and the caravan of Samud heading from Tunisia to Gaza to break the siege of Gaza and change the world as we know it. May their mission be successful. Prayers that I get to work that supports my financial recovery after losing almost everything during Hurricane Beryl. Prayers that Bryn gets employed where they are underworked and overemployed. Gets employment while they are where they are underworked and overemployed. There we go. Prayers that Kaylee lives a long and healthy life. Prayers for Gaza, Sudan, Tigray, Congo, Haiti, and all the other regions where colonial oppression and extraction are happening. Prayers that we divest from colonial carbon and time. We have 2 years to turn everything around. Prayers that I am able to move through different difficult changes in life. Prayers that Jay is able to move through recovery and not let their addiction consume them again. Prayers that the folks in LA protesting and to all undocumented people in this country, may our prayers and actions support your liberation. Prayers for my family who are living with mental health and substance use challenges. May we heal from all that which torments us. Prayers for especially Jessica as she enters long-term rehab. Prayers for Irma, Malia as they battle cancer. May they find relief and healing. Prayers for Los Angeles, the protesters, our undocumented siblings, Palestine, and those who face injustice. Prayers for Dee and their children as they navigate their new life. Prayers for all queer and trans people throughout the US and the world. May they be protected and cared for and held through this time forevermore. Prayers for myself as I transition into the next chapter of my life and for my siblings as they come into adulthood. Prayers for my brothers, for their mental health, and may they be open to support and care and change. Prayers for myself and my loved ones, that we may find housing as we experience this next transition. Prayers for my financial wellness, for my spiritual wellness, that I may be lifted and carried in times of heaviness, that I may be able to hold while being held, that I continue to let what pours through me pour through me. Prayers for every single Black person, prayers for all suffering beings. May all beings be free. May all those suffering experience liberation. May we hold each other through revolution. May we abolish everything that is not love. May we rebirth a free world. Ashe, Svaha, so be it. May all these prayers be cast out into the 10 directions, reaching far and wide. And as we go briefly into our mantra again, may we solidify our belief in these prayers. May we make physical, may we feel the oomph in our own voice, or may we feel the grief, the quietness. May we hear the lullaby that we might need sung. Whatever you really need right now, whatever your prayers need ejected into them, whatever your heart is asking for, may this be the time to express, not just discover and ruminate and think about and intellectualize, but to embody, to express, and to play with. So we'll go back into our mantra a few times. Taking a deep breath, again, checking in with yourself. This time, really being covered by your ancestors. If you need like a little physical aid for that, grab something, put it on you. If you just want to use your limbs, touch yourself. But I'm just this little blanket that I know will be so big one day. My little grief that I know also sometimes will be so big one day. I'll let it all be held. I'll literally let myself be a womb, be a place where I can be born. The whole me. How can I first give myself permission for birth so that I may witness it, so that I may create it with every bit of love around me? Dhaya Beknze Beknze Mahabeknze Raza Samgate Soha 다이아타 umbe 근제 마하베 근제 Raza samgate soha. Daya ta umbe kunze be kunze ma be kunze. Raza samgate soha. Daya ta umbe kunze be kunze ma be kunze. Raza samgate soha. 다이야 다운백은데 백은데 마백은데 라자삼가대소와 다이야 다운백은데 백은데 마백은데 라자삼가대소와 다이야 다운백은데 백세 마백세 라자삼가티소하 아야다옴백세 백세 마백 라자삼가테소아. I'll do it three more times. Feel free to chant or just listen. The invitation is to imagine the medicine Buddha, an ancestor, yourself as the big middle of the ocean, singing this gently to you, right? Letting you know that care can be gentle, your fierceness can be held in a soft, buoyant space as well. 하야타 um백세 백세 마하백세 라자삼가티소하 다야다 옴백은제 백은제 마백은제 라자삼가테소하 다야타 um백 아베 은제 라자 삼가테소아. May our wildest dreams of liberation be so. Svaha isn't just like a hail or a may it be so, but it's also an expression of joy. It's an act of consecration, the same as ashe. It's not just a word, it is the embodied like power of consecration, of repeated practiced prayer in community, of finely honed love and care. And so we'll move into the Shantideva's prayer. Thank you. I saw the unmute to come and assist me, which will be in the chat. Today I want to read this one time slowly, if that's okay. And then I will sing an outro song and we can check in, say hello. But really, three times is lovely in an act of magic, but I think sometimes one slow one is an act of sinking and soaking And so, since we're big oceans today, why not let it soak in? So, taking a breath, coming into focus, whether you speak or listen, do it all the way. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all the sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach until the ends of space. And as we dedicate the merit of this practice to all beings, as we soak in that true aspiration of Medicine Buddha, of Shantideva, of anyone seeking liberation, of really healing that reaches to the ends of space, a body that reaches to the ends of space, a consciousness that reaches to the ends of space, a boundlessness, a formlessness that is so completely full that it's empty. That's the kind of like little parts of liberation we can sink into and try to expand, right? Feels like a really good hug when you need it from someone you love, you know? It's so big. And it's one of the smallest acts we can do, right? We're built to do it, to just, that's the shape our body takes when we're born, clinging. But just through that small, like, embodied, I am cared for, and letting myself be cared for and caring, that intersection is where all these fake lines we draw start to disappear, start to dissolve, where all these ideas we have about ourselves become secondary to the experience we have of ourselves, where our need to be understood comes secondary to our need to be authentic. How can I be me with any gaze, right? How can I be Miso, always yelling at the most quiet point, just because she wants to, if you can hear the cat yelling in the background? But with that, I'll sing a little song that is, I can put it in the chat as well if you'd like to sing along. But it's called Oya Miloya. It's a song for the Orisha Oya, who is, find it, there we go, who is the goddess, the Yoruba, Ifa, Isheshe, goddess of change, of wind, of storms, of mixing it up, originally of your last breath and then expanded into death, the gates of the cemetery, all children. She's diasporically often just kind of pigeonholed into like an angry maternal type, but she is so much more than that. She is being the storm, the kind of acceptance that is not just accepting being in the eye of the storm, the calm part, and knowing that things are swirling around you, but knowing that you're part of that swirling too, and that you can be up there, you can be swirled. Her dances are big, powerful swirling. You hold like a fan and a knife to just like cut through sincerely what is wrong, who has like wronged her children, and to fan away, to sweep up the storms that need to be swept up. So we'll sing this a few times. You sing with me, listen, Maybe you'll sing like 5 times so that you can join in if you want to. And then I'll turn it over. But take a nice deep breath in and out. We bring in the spirit of Oya. I present my ancestral altars, cowrie shells, and bells in a woven Hopi basket. One of my carved ancestors from pre-colonial East Africa. And the energy of twirling and of like, it's become a trend now, but that phrase, we were girls together. I think about that all the time, that energy of like, oh, we were just like pure beings, children, innocent, playing together. Especially thinking of like my own girlhood, and this picture is that to me of the world we're building towards and already living in, of just being home. Ayaba, oya, miloya, oya, miloya, oya, iya, ewe, kio, waile, oya, miloya. Ayaba, oya, miloya, oya, miloya, oya, iya, ewe, kio, waile, oya, miloya, oya, iya, ewe, kio, waile. Oya, miloya. Ayaba, oya, miloya. Oya, miloya. Oya, iya, ewe, iyo, waile. Oya, miloya, oya, iya, ewe, kiu waile, oya, miloya. Ayaba, oya, miloya. Oya, miloya, oya, iya, ewe, kio, waile. Oya, miloya, oya, iya, ewe, kio, waile. Oya, miloya. Oya, iya, ue, kio, waile. Oya, miloya. My queen mother, Oya, says it's time to come home. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. And you can't see, but my big medicine bowl that we filled up was exactly where my head went. So on that last bow, I got to dunk my head in all the blessings that we've started to flow. So if you want to imagine, for you too, for you all, the play counts. Take a shower in your own blessings. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you so much. This is always a beautiful emergent practice, and I appreciate the way that Lama Rod has set up the space so that it can always be emergent. I feel no need to plan, and I feel completely trusting of this community to carry us where we need to go. Um, I'll put my little donation links in the bottom before I pass it to uh, Eric. If you'd like, I'm pouring behind my bills. So if you've got some to spare, feel free to throw it my way. Otherwise, I appreciate the vibes that also sustain me. Um, but yeah, I love you all so much, and I believe in your liberation.